Hello guys, welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to be going year by year through the different generations of the Torino and try and clear up a couple common misconceptions and just try and enlighten you a little bit on the Torino nameplate and the history behind it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ford Torino debuted in 1968. It was a higher trim level to the Ford Fairlane. It's a mid-sized car, the Galaxy being the full-size car and the Mustang being the pony car, Falcon also being a smaller car. Now I'm only going to be talking about the sporty versions of these cars because that's what I have right here and that's where most of the misconceptions start. So in 1968, the sporty version of the Torino was a Torino GT. The GT was a sporty version. It came with a 302 2-barrel standard. It was supposed to come with bucket seats. All Torino GTs were supposed to have bucket seats, but due to a worker strike, they had to go back to bench seats. The GTs had style steel wheels, a C-stripe along the side, as well as a lot of other little knickknacks, odds and ends there, like this badge in the front, the red stripe along the grill, things like that to make it fun. And it's a 302 2-barrel, made it a little sporty. There's all kinds of engine options for the GT, from the 302 to the 351 2-barrel, 351 4-barrel, 392 barrel, 394 barrel. In the back half of 68, they introduced the 428 as well. Throughout the Torino GT, the sport version of the Torino's run, there's basically two main body styles: the fastback and the formal roof. So that's the 68 Torino. It was a big thing. It was new. It was fun. It was cool. Sold very well. So then in 69, Ford didn't see the need to change it up or need to stop selling it, so they sold so many. And so they changed the grille to make it look like mine. This is 69 here. A couple little different cosmetic changes, but overall it mainly stayed the same from 68 to 69. They sold a few less in 69. Only about 60,000 Torino GTs were sold. Now in 69, Ford made a couple different special versions of the Torino for various reasons. The first one being the Cobra. It wasn't quite as special, but the Cobra was Ford's all-in performance muscle car. It was just called the Cobra, but it was based off of the Torino fastback and the Torino formal roof. Body design, body style, and trim and everything was the same. Cobra had the 428 Cobra Jet 4-barrel. It was everything Ford threw at it to make it a high-performance vehicle without all of the excessive air conditioning and all the extra luxury features. It only had a bench seat. It was a full-on factory drag racing car. The other special version they made of the Torino was the Talladega. It was the NASCAR aerodynamic homologation special. They only made 750 of those. In order to meet NASCAR requirements, they had to sell at least 500 of them, and so they did. Talladega has a 6-inch longer nose, as well as rolled rocker panels, and then just different trim all the way around as well, and then a blacked out hood. So that 68 and 69 were the first generation of the Torino. Then in 70, Ford changed it up a little bit. They changed the body style. It got a little longer, a little heavier. The body changed for 70, and that was pretty big. They had the turnstile hood pins, which were really cool, instead of these ones that you had to push them in and turn them, and the hood would pop up. I always like that. So yeah, besides the body changing in 1970, not much changed. Underneath of it, it would still look exactly the same, but the sheet metal on the outside changed, as well as big changes were made in the interior, because a lot of people didn't like the 4 gauge pods. 1971 was basically the same as 1970. Not much changed. Still the Torino GT was the performance version. However, in 1972, Ford completely changed the Torino and dropped the Torino GT. The Torino GT became the Gran Torino Sport. So up until that point, there was no such thing as a Gran Torino, but in 1972, it became the Gran Torino Sport. The body changed completely in 1972. It stopped being a unibody car and became a full body on frame car, and in my opinion, it became more of a full-size car rather than a mid-size car, because this car still weighs quite a bit less than a 72 Torino. So the third generation of the Torino had a 4-year run, 72 to 76. They've made the most of them, and they're the most common ones you can find. They're still you still hardly ever see any of them, which is kind of sad. They're great looking cars if you ask me. Between 72 and 76, there was different cosmetic changes. They had the Starsky and Hutch, but they all still had the formal roof and the fastback if you wanted a sport version of it, the Gran Torino Sport. So 76 was the last year for the Torino. It kind of wasn't selling very well. Sporty cars weren't in anymore. It wasn't cool. And so Ford dropped the Gran Torino and the Torino altogether in favor of the LTD for 1977. So that was the demise of the Torino. It died and became the LTD. Well, we love you guys. Learned a lot in this video. I hope it cleared up a couple little misconceptions you might have had about names and years and all that. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time on It'll Run, where we'll be doing a little bit of wrenching, maybe talk about how to align one of these things. Thanks for watching.